Recently on Revealing Secrets, we were able to make the link between Dave Charlesworth's buried car headlamps and this Daimler Laudlette, owned by the wealthy car enthusiast Sir Barclay Sheffield. We also established the link between the wartime designer of Marlborough Harbours, Sir Bruce White, and this Armstrong Siddeley Sapphire, lovingly restored after years of neglect. Cars of this vintage invariably have a story to tell, and some people make it their life's work to find them out. Like Mike Worthington Williams, car historian and conservationist. Seen here in an Austin 20, still going strong with its original engine after a remarkable 1 million miles on the road.
I've had for the last 19 years an Austin 20, which we call Arthur. The first owner, Mr. Chick, who lived in Larkhill Rise in South London, his letter heading shows that he was a specialist in limousines and sparking plugs, and I did a bit of research on Mr. Chick afterwards and found out that he had in fact bought a huge batch of government surplus sparking plugs after the First World War, and he was still cheerfully selling what was left of them in the 1930s. But he had had a hire car business in South London as well, for which the car was used. He sold the car eventually to a chap called Arthur Hearn, who had a taxi rank on the station at Henley-on-Thames. And there was also a bill of sale on the transfer of interest from one to the other, dated 1935, when the car was sold for £35. He kept a meticulous record of every trip the car had ever done, every gallon of petrol ever been bought for it, and these were all in several leather-bound volumes. And we totted up all the mileage that had been covered in all these trips over the years. And the logbooks which we'd found down at Swansea or Pontypool also showed that the car had been continuously taxed right the way through World War II. Ministry of Fuel and Power stamps all the way through. So when we came to a total of in excess of 1 million, it didn't seem so out of court, because quite a few London taxis, the old type London cabs, were known to have completed at least 1 million miles when they were in service all through the war. And it's still on the same engine, because the engine number in the car now is the same as the engine number in that first logbook that we've got. And so clearly the car was built to last. Often cars will come into somebody's possession with a legend attached to them. Now, we had a case once where a 1936 Lanchester, quite an ordinary, mundane 14 horsepower family saloon, turned up in a shocking state, but with the rumour that it had at one time belonged to George VI. On this Lanchester, the number plate on it was totally nondescript. It didn't give any clues at all to a royal background, and the car was not the kind of car that you might have thought a king would drive. But on the other hand, Lanchester was a favoured make of George V, and so his son might have had a Lanchester. It was possible. When we looked closely at the car, we found that the number plate actually was screwed on top of another one. And we took the number plate off, and the number plate underneath was GX6. And we then found out that that had been originally registered through Stratstones, who were the original Daimler Lanchester distributors. And when we checked with their records, we'd found that the car, in fact, had been the King's car.
Mike's passion for history is only matched by his love affair with fine motoring, a family trait that goes back generations.
My grandfather was an amateur historian, and so he got me interested in history, and I was quite good at history at school. But my dad was a chauffeur by profession, driving Daimlers and Rolls Royces.